Outside her day job, she also plays an active role in a digital marketing agency called Dimax, who collaborate on a number of global digital projects. I thought I was busy. She also is here tonight in Kilmarnock, flew up today, flying home tomorrow. Thank you for making the effort to share some of her experience and insight with you. So, would you please welcome Joanna Steele?
I'll change to your presentation.
Good evening. Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Good evening, everyone. Thank you. I'm really happy to be here, and it's my first time in Scotland. And it hasn't disappointed, actually. I had a really nice journey from the airport to here. I had a lovely cab driver who spoke to me in London. in London, they don't actually really talk, the cab drivers. So yeah, thank you for having me. And today I'm going to talk to you about how you can leverage digital technology and digital marketing strategies to enhance your physical retail space. And as Gary mentioned, I am Joanna Steele. I've worked in digital for about 13 years now, and I've been working within retail for about 7 years. And this evening, I want you to walk away with 3 ideas on what to do to improve your business with using digital. Either think of 3 new things or how you can do 3 things differently. So let's go. So that's me on the left-hand side, circa 1984, I think, and that's my younger cousin. I'm looking very protective over her, and we're actually really close now, and actually this is a testament to our relationship. But actually I didn't know that photo existed until about a year ago when she shared it on social media. And around that time, circa 1984, the customer journey was much different. So as a brand, you would have big adverts above the line, whether it be TV adverts, radio, billboards, in a bid to really attract customers. And then as a buyer, I'd see those adverts, I'd be interested, I'd be considering your product amongst other products within the arena, amongst other competitors. And then I'd move down the funnel and make the decision that, yep, I want to buy that. And I would ring, I would fire up the website, I would, go into a shop, and I would make that decision and I would buy it. And then the action is, that person would then pass you off to fulfill the order, and then ka-ching, brilliant, we've got the money, and then the sales and marketing machine would go right back to the top to attract some new customers. So for quite a while, that was the journey of a buyer, and it was very linear and very traditional. So this is me in 2009 having a great time at a work Christmas party, and around that time is where McKinsey, who are a management consultancy company, they realised that the onslaught of technology had completely changed how customers bought products. And it was less about looking at a variety of brands and then whittling them down to one, but it was more around technology was allowing people to research more, and also they identified something called the loyalty loop, where customers used to keep on using products, really push for innovation, push for change, push for improvement. And they also wanted brands and retailers to offer more, a superior experience. And they constantly fed that back to businesses. And so the loyalty loop developed within the buyer circle. And sort of since 2009, there's been quite a few different models. Google in 2011 talked about the 0 moment of truth, and that was about how customers researched before they made any purchases. 2016, Google introduced another model, which was about micro moments and how customers would use devices to act on a need, to know something, to do something, to go somewhere, to buy something. And there's been numerous other models over the years. But today, this is where we're at the moment. The customer journey is all over the place. It's, how would I say, it's unpredictable. Customers go in between different stages, they're on different devices, and technology has completely changed the whole arena. And so for people like us that sell products and services, it makes it increasingly difficult to sell those products and services and to find the right customers to buy them. So how do you make sure that you're everywhere where your consumers are? So you have a challenge to find and reach customers. You need to drive sales, and you need to hone and grow and keep your brand advocates. So first things first, you've got to get started online. So who here doesn't have a website for their business? You're the only one, I'm afraid. You've got to get started. You have to be online. I think the stat is around 98% of the internet-enabled population will go online as part of their purchase journey. It's just synonymous with buying now. Whether they buy there or not, they might not, but they use the internet as part of their journey. So if you're not online, you have to get online. And it's easy. You know, you don't have to know any code. Solutions such as Wix.com allow you to create your own website. So it's really easy. But actually, beyond that, you need to make your business discoverable by your customers. So does anyone here have a Google My Business page? Good. Okay, so for those that don't know, a Google My Business page is essentially like a directory entry, which has your address, phone number, directions to your business, and it also allows customers to write reviews on your business and your products and services. So for those of you who've got a mobile, who have a website, would you say your website is mobile optimized? Yeah, okay, good. So 66% of all e-commerce traffic and 51% of all online purchases take place on either a smartphone or a tablet. So if you don't have a mobile optimized site, effectively you're shutting the front door on your shop. So it's really important to make sure that your site is mobile optimized. And site speed. So, you know, we are the sort of generation that wants things now. We don't want to wait. We're running here, we're running there. You know, we're time poor, we're impatient. And actually 50% of customers expect your site to load within 2 seconds. So if it doesn't, you need to sort that out, basically. And there are loads of free tools online to sort of check that and help you optimize and improve your site speed. So how do customers search? So everyone knows that sort of at the beginning of a journey, quite often customers will search on Google. And so that's how many shoppers start their journey, with a keyword search. And it's really important that you appear, and there are different ways in which you can improve and increase your ranking on Google. One of the key things is around having content-rich information on your website. So whether it's product descriptions, blogs, you have to make sure that that content contains the keywords that you want to be found for. So if you are perhaps selling dresses, for example, if you're a clothing brand, and you have a range of party dresses, and you want people to know about that, then you would then make sure that all the content that you have on your site, whether it's your blogs, whether it's your product descriptions, include those keywords like party dresses so that they will be able to find you. And what Google does is, it looks for all of that content and it loves fresh and relevant content. And they have these bots. I don't know what they look like. It's kind of like this technical kind of robotic things that kind of crawl websites. And what it does is it looks for relevant content, it looks for fresh content, and it gives you a score which basically pushes you up or down the rankings on the Google search pages. AdWords. So for those who might have a little bit of budget, AdWords works really well. It's a Google AdWords, it's a Google tool. And essentially what it allows you to do is to find potential customers who are looking for what you're selling. And you don't have to pay unless people click on the ad and go through to your website. So you bid for the keywords that you want to use. Obviously the popular ones cost more, but as I mentioned, you only pay when people click. Seller ratings, for those who have a Google My Business page, there's the ability for customers to write reviews about your business, and actually the volume and the more reviews that you get on your Google My Business page, they will therefore show in your AdWords, and that drives click-through rate, that adds trust. Customers like to see that other customers are rating you. They want to know what other customers think about you, and that therefore assists them in trusting your brand. and organic search. So you can definitely improve your rankings using organic content. So alongside the blogs, custom reviews is a really good example of highly relevant customer-sourced content, that will help you with your ranking. So how do you drive sales with reviews? So I mentioned around custom reviews helping you with your SEO and your placement on search pages, but actually customers' reviews help other customers with their purchasing decisions. How many people have a business Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter? Okay, quite a few, good. And because not only do custom reviews drive sales, community drives sales, a lot like what Joanna was saying in the video you've just seen. And it's important to build a community where your customers are. So don't just have an Instagram page just to have one. Really research and find out whether your target audience is there. Is that where they are? If they are, then go there. This is a really good example actually with some of my work that I did at Mothercare. And while I was at Mothercare, I worked in a number of roles, sort of digital editorial content. I headed up the social media team, and there was a number of projects that I implemented. But one of the key things that worked for us was how we spoke to our customers on social media. So if you imagine, you know, Mothercare, mother and baby retailer, really aimed at first-time mums. It can be quite an anxious period for first-time mums, not quite sure, they don't know what they're doing. And as much as it being a happy moment, but nevertheless it's an emotional moment for mums. So yes, we sell prams and we sell cots and you know we sell all the stuff that they need, but actually there's a real opportunity to tap into giving those customers advice and tips on how they can look after their babies. And so one of the things that we did is we created what we call the 2 a.m. club. And I've got a few chuckles there. So I don't have children, but I do know that some children, or when you're a new parent, you're quite often sleep deprived. And we didn't have anyone in the office at 2 a.m. posting this. We used to schedule our posts. And the whole idea was, it's 2 a.m., tell us why you're up. And this screenshot is actually taken a couple of weeks ago. So I left Mothercare over 2 years ago now, and actually they're still doing this post because it gets engagement. So it's good to see that actually one of my ideas still goes on to this day. And essentially, it's about asking who's awake. And what used to happen was, you know, mums on their smartphones, babies crying, you know, colic, teething, all of those problems. And actually, it gave them a platform to be able to discuss and talk with other customers. And we used to see conversations on this thread go on till 6 in the morning. And the idea is around giving customers the confidence to shop with you by showing that you care, you understand, you empathise, you can offer advice and tips. And you know, customers want to hear from people like them. So as a brand or a business owner, facilitate the conversation. You know, you don't have to always be in the conversation. You know, put the post out there, interact on occasion, but kind of let them get on with it. And you have to humanise your brand. So when I first joined the business, they used their social media to talk about, you know, promotions, 20% off this, sale. And whilst it's important to talk about your offers and your promotion, social media is for the conversation primarily. It's how you build that community, engage that community, talk about what's relevant to them, and also relevant to your brand. But it's about humanising your brand and not always being about the hard sell. Any football fans here today? Have you? Me too. I'm actually a Spurs fan. I live in North London. And, oh gosh, okay. I was so excited, I actually didn't know this hotel was next to the Kilmarnock FC. I was like, oh. And I did a bit of research and found out that they're doing quite well after having started at the bottom of the table. So, yeah, good days, happy days. So the reason I've used this example is basically, for those who aren't into football actually, Arsenal are Spurs' rivals. So, yeah, sort of North London arch rivals. But I do love Arsenal Fan TV. And this is just a really good example of how you can extend the reach of your brand using video content, relatively free. And Robbie Lyle, the guy on the left, he started Arsenal Fan TV in 2012. And the reasons he did it, he says here, we've all had enough of the so-called pundits, most of whom aren't even at the games. So I started my own channel to hear from the real fans with real opinions. The channel has 700,000 subscribers, 400 million views. And it's so entertaining to watch because they are talking to real people. There's some real characters on there, actually. And that is the essence of the channel. And that's why I, even as a Spurs fan, love watching it. And you'll find that actually quite a few people that are into it aren't actually Arsenal fans. And I do think, you know, at the moment they're going through some troubles. Their managers not performing as well as they used to. And there is an element of, it's quite fun to look at people being quite angry and upset, and particularly being a Spurs fan. But actually, despite the fact that they're not winning as a team, and so the channel is not helping them win necessarily, but hands down, Arsenal are one of the most talked about Premier League clubs, and I think it's due to, in part, due to this fan TV site. So I think it's really important to think about, be innovative, you know, try something new. I think Robbie was a surveyor before he started this, so, you know, there's always an opportunity to think about driving things forward. How do you kind of get started? And video content is actually a really good way to do that. So what are the customer trends? So it's really important when you're looking at marketing, digital, your business, is really understand customer behaviours, what's changing and what's happening within your industry and also within digital more generally. And so one of the key things that's happening at the moment is the visual content explosion. So essentially 95 million photos are uploaded on Instagram on each day. 350 million photos are uploaded on Facebook on a daily basis. And 66% of customers are more likely to purchase if the website has photos and videos from real customers. And they're more likely to trust the brand when they see real pictures from real people. So when you're thinking about your imagery on your site, yes, it's great to, you know, do some amazing shots in a studio, perhaps, really showcasing your product. But actually, customers prefer to see other customer photos as well. So they like to see your brand photos, but they also want to see real customer photos displayed. And you can create a real visual, shareable shopping experience. So what I like to say is that social content is the new shop window. And so it's so important that you really don't just leave your social content on your social media channels. Think about ways in which you can integrate it onto your website, in your physical stores, and email marketing as well. And it's important to immerse customers in a real visual shopping experience, and it really showcases that your brand and your products and services in action. We talked about adding video content, inspire your customers to move and browse and buy, and make it shareable. So allow customers to share images, share your blog articles, share your products, and also give them the opportunity to log in using their Facebook. If you sell your products online, the worst thing that we have to do is create another account, put our email address in, create another password. How many passwords do we all have? Make it easier for customers by allowing them to log in through Facebook. Find, grow and keep loyal advocates. So what's really important here is around identifying who your key advocates are. Who's into your brand? Who are your customers? How much do they spend with you? And what you can do is invite them to maybe a close-knit, exclusive community. It doesn't have to be loads of people. It could be 3, 4, 5 customers who are, avid fans of what you do. And you can get them to test and trial products for free. and you can get them to review products. You can invite them to exclusive events. You can encourage them to share their experiences on social media. And you can also use them as a focus group to test some new ideas, test products, give you some ideas on how you should market certain products. So you should never underestimate what your customers can do for you, and what they're willing to do, actually. And so I sort of talked to you a little bit about the Argos Testers community, which I launched last June, I think it was. And the idea of that was, there were 3 reasons. It was to accelerate content collection. We also wanted to reward loyal customers. And we also wanted to get an additional revenue stream from our suppliers. And so we created this community. It was invitation only. And we looked at how much the customers had spent, how engaged they were with our email campaigns, how many reviews they'd written on our products. And we selected those customers and we invited them to join. They had to do a little bit of work, and we had to make sure that they could write well, so we gave them a test to sort of write a test review, and then we selected them. And essentially we've got a pool of 5,000 customers all over the UK. We have real detailed information about who they are, their lifestyles, their interests, demographics, whether they've got a dog, how many children, what their age of their children. There's about 40 questions that we ask them as part of the application. And so what we're able to do is, suppliers who have new products, they're able to send those products to those testers and get reviews from day one as soon as that product goes live on the site. So it really enables brands to really understand what the customers think about their products, if there are any flaws that might be highlighted, what are the attributes and the features and the benefits that they should highlight in their marketing. And it's really a good way, actually, to get that content from day one. Our testers, they write loads of content, double the character count, they upload images with their reviews, they share their experiences on social media, and we encourage that for them to share using the hashtag #ArgosTesters. So if you've got your phone, have a little look on Instagram, Twitter, hashtag #ArgosTesters, and you'll see some of the amazing videos and images that some of the community share, and that extends the reach of that content. So that's another selling point that we sell into our suppliers. You don't just get the review, you don't just get some of the insight on your product, you also get the reach from the sharing on social media. And one thing we're looking at doing now is, how do we make more of this community and really drive the benefits to the business. So we're looking at integrating some of the content that sits on social, bringing that to our Argos website. You can see there that we've got a small sort of content hub, which goes into a bit more detail about the community. We highlight some of the testers, they share their top tips. So we're going to be really expanding on that community hub by bringing in some of that social content. And we're also going to hold events. So within Argos, as you're aware, we don't have any products out on the aisles. So how do we, and we sell things like sofas, beds, things that people actually really want to touch and try, and so sometimes it's really difficult for us to make those sales in some of those key categories. So what we're looking at doing is holding events where some of the testers can trial some of those products, and there we can get some of the content that we sort of not struggle to get, but it usually takes us a while. So more formally, all the things I've talked about can be described as owned, earned, and paid media. So owned is your website, it's your social channels, it's your blog. Earned is what people are saying about your products or your services, the reviews, the shares, the likes, the retweets, the interactions, the mentions. And the paid media is some of the stuff I've mentioned around Google AdWords. You could do Facebook advertising, which is highly targeted, and all the things that you need to do where you need to have a bit more of a budget. And actually this diagram is quite powerful, because what it basically says is that you kind of need to be doing all of those things. And a good mix is a good way in how you can really drive sales and excel and grow your business. 5 key things around owned, earned and paid media. Content collection is at the core, so get loads of content. Volume is key. You need to be present in all the moments that matter and let your customers advocate and illustrate your story. I mentioned before, you know, we can say, yes, our product's brilliant, but actually it's up to the customers to be able to do that and facilitate that conversation. Listen and learn from the content. If customers are saying something about your product, listen. Active listeners win. And customer engagement is a conversation. So prioritise responsiveness, two-way, and respond to your customers, even whether what they say is negative or positive. So I know what you're thinking. All this digital stuff is great, but what about my shop? So customers want the best of both worlds, and that's just the fact. And so we have to think about how we leverage both the physical and digital worlds. And so we call it Let's Get Digital. So the number of monthly active smartphone users will be around 54 million in 2022. And so you really need to think about how you can leverage some of this technology in your physical space. So in anyone's stores, does anyone do mobile payments at all? No? It's something you should really consider doing because it provides a simpler payment environment for customers. And adopting a more modern payment format could really drive your sales and give you that competitive advantage. And it's interesting to know that in your physical store, 82% of people will look at their phones while they're buying. And it's called showrooming. So what they'll do is they'll have a look to see if they can find the product cheaper, do comparisons. So what's really important when customers are in your store, make sure you give them an amazing experience. You are the experts, you know your products. So talk to them about your expertise and your knowledge to make them buy within your store as opposed to looking elsewhere on their phones while they're in there. Deliver a great in-store experience and encourage your customers to share on social media. You can also collect email addresses on your website and in your store as well. And you can perhaps offer an incentive to get customers to give you their details. But you have to be very clear as to why you need them or you want them and what you're going to do with them. You may have heard of some new legislation that's coming in May called GDPR. So the government are going to be really hot on it, and anyone who's using data and email addresses not in the way that's been consented by the customer will get into big trouble. So if you are collecting email addresses, make sure you're intentional and you're transparent about what you're going to be using it for. And with that email address, you can send emails about products, promotions, tell them about different offers, etc. And it's really important to broadcast your owned media channels in such things as your store windows, your pods, your product tags. Let customers know that you're online, whether it's your Facebook, Twitter handle, your website address. Really sort of broadcast those details. And try and integrate customer reviews and testimonials as well. As I mentioned, customers listen to other customers. So if you can get some of that information and include it in your marketing, packaging, printed advertising, you're onto a winner. And also augmented reality and virtual reality. So that's some of the new technologies that are coming in which enhance the physical, your physical experience with a digital experience and merges the two worlds. And whilst some people are sort of testing and trialing that, and it's quite an expensive method, but it's not to say it's something that you can't do, whether it's just for a one-off at an event, as you've seen here actually. So at the beginning, I sort of said I wanted you to take away 3 things that you could do differently, or start doing. And actually I've got 7, and I call them the Magnificent 7. So the first one is get started online. Make sure you're visible, make sure people see you, make sure people find you. Offer a mobile and SEO optimized customer experience. Stay on top of trends, the changing customer behavior, the changing journeys. Make sure you understand what's going on and you can jump on some of the newness that comes as soon as it comes, so you're not left behind. Broadcast your business everywhere. Get your customers to help you. Find potential customers looking for what you offer by doing things like Google AdWords, and some of that does need a bit of money, but actually, if you do all the other things, you'll find that actually, and some of those other things, the majority of them are free. It kind of just takes a bit of your time. But actually, if you do all the other things, you actually don't have to spend as much on some of the Google AdWords and advertising tools that are out there. One thing that you have to do is measure. Measure return on investment. So all of the activities that you're doing, make sure you know whether they're working for you or not. One of the great things about digital is that you can track everything. So Google Analytics is a free tool. You can see how many people come into your website. You can see where they've come from. You can see which Facebook posts work for you. Facebook have their own analytics as well. So you can see what is working. And what is working, keep doing more of that. What's not working, stop. And number 7 is experiment. Have fun with it. Play, innovate. You know, do videos, do vlogs. You know, it's really important that you kind of really try as much as you can to do newness and new innovative things. And find me. Thank you.